My name is Kenny Dial, and I want to welcome you back to Season 3 of the Scuba Diving Podcast. Please welcome back my next guest, Morgan Oughton, the creator of Spacefish Army. This is basically now the coolest clothes in scuba diving, and it's got a lot of other purposes too. She's going to talk about how to create a business like that, her journey from New York to a liveaboard, then the Florida beaches, how her and her business partner also is her life partner, and how they got started. And finally, anybody else is trying to start a business that's working hard and maybe is doing 2 jobs. She kind of explains how she did it, how she pushed through, and what point are you happy? When do you stop wanting more? When do you stop wanting to grow? When do you say this is it? We kind of dive into that. It's the backstory, it's business advice, and it's at SharkCon. After this, stick around for our follow-up episode. It's short and sweet, but it's to the point with RJ, her partner and fiance. So that one will be coming a little later as a supplement to this because after talking to them, I just had to. I hope you enjoy this show. All right, Morgan, thanks for towering over me, but coming back on the show.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Good to see you
Good
again.
to see you again, too. All right, we're going to try this. Obviously, we're here at your booth. We're in Tampa. We're at SharkCon, summer 2023. Very busy, by the way.
Yes.
I just want to jump right into it. I know we've talked before. You've been on the show before. You're the founder of Spacefish Army. You obviously work the ground, too. You're here. You started at a design firm in New York City, correct?
Yep.
And then you decided up in one day, I'm going to go work liveaboards.
Well, it wasn't quite a 180 complete,
Epiphany.
one day I woke up and decided to do that.
Well, how did you make that connection?
I was always the person in the office that would go on these exotic vacations. I would really, we only got 2 weeks vacation working the normal 9-to-5 life. So once I found scuba diving and I became obsessed with it, that became, my sole mission for the 2 or 3 years that I was still in New York. It was like, okay, I really had to pick a destination. And that's how I got into liveaboards, is because that was the best bang for your buck. We were getting 28 dives a week on a liveaboard. I didn't really know anybody that was diving. So like you had said in your podcast before, the best way to find buddies is to just be out there and doing it.
Yeah.
So I would go on these solo liveaboard trips, and then I would ask the crew of those boats, how do I get to where you are? I was on the Kona Aggressor asking the videographer, how do I get your job? And fast forward 2 years later, I had done all my dive certifications. I got into, cameraing, and I got that job specifically.
First of all, you did it. That's awesome. So you were working in New York City. You went on a diving trip for fun on a liveaboard.
Yep.
And you fell in love with it. And you went back a few times while working in New York.
Yep.
And working toward your Divemaster, and you wanted to shoot video, right?
Well, it's pretty scary too, because when you do talk to dive professionals, one of the first things that comes up is, you don't make a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
So
I finished that sentence for you.
Leaving a 6-figure job, but living the dream, it was a big decision to actually leave my profession. I have a 4-year degree in fashion design. I had 10 years experience under my belt. I had made it, but what does your heart want versus what your wallet wants?
My next question you just answered was, do you not like money?
Well, so the liveaboard lifestyle is very interesting if you can hack it, because not everybody can. It's a very, very hard lifestyle. But the pros can outweigh the cons if you're not a very materialistic person. So for the 3 years I worked on liveaboards, I was living out of a suitcase. You would have no bills besides a cell phone. So I was paying $90 a month.
So it seems to be as long as you don't have, I guess if you had kids, you couldn't do that.
We have met a lot of people who have.
So they worked liveaboards and they had kids?
And it seems really difficult, but they do it. They're away from their families for months at a time, but when they're home, they're home. You get to have a month off versus even working a 9-to-5, it's always a trade-off. So what I've come to learn in anything in life is there's pros and cons to everything. And if you can make the pros outweigh the cons, do whatever makes you happy. When me and RJ were together, we made the decision to not work on liveaboards anymore. He still was thinking about going off, doing a couple rotations and stuff, and I said, I am not going to be your army wife. You are not leaving me and going to do all the cool things while I sit at home. That's just not going to be what we do.
I can't imagine how that would work. I
can't handle it.
There seems to be a shelf life to that lifestyle. There needs to be a what am I going to do later. You found yours during.
Kind of by
Correct?
accident, yeah.
Okay.
I was working as a Divemaster in Kauai, double shifts, doing the Divemaster lifestyle, and it was just my passion project, trying to create stuff for me to wear personally. That was how Spacefish started. So at the shop that I was working for, Sea Sport Divers, they approached me and they're like, I think this would sell in our shop. So would you be able to make enough for us to sell? And crunching the numbers, of course, doing it the way I was doing it wasn't going to make sense. So it was really about getting the factory and the production lined up. And I had a friend in New Jersey fulfilling our product. I didn't have any of the product on hand. So it was like bare bones, trying to figure out how I can make this happen.
You had just started to get your feet wet with the Spacefish line. And then you got the call to go work the Liveaboard Aggressor.
Like literally the job that I was asking somebody how to get 2 years prior.
And you took that job.
Yeah.
So you still had Spacefish on the back burner, and you were still doing things while on the Liveaboard.
I would be up late at night when everybody's sleeping, drawing and doing the production packs for the first couple patterns. Yeah.
That's interesting because I know that when you do a day of diving, like you just want to pass out.
And as the videographer too, most people only did 1 dive a day. But I would try to do at least 3 because if people are seeing the cool stuff and I'm not in the water with them, then they're not going to buy my video.
Right. And you got to be the first one in, last one out. And they're all going along like a school. And as a videographer, you're here, here, yep. Here, and you're working.
Yeah.
I want to know what happened. You're on the Aggressor fleet. You're up at night designing while everyone else is sleeping from a very long day. And you said the last time we talked that you ended up selling like the pants off of you.
Yep, it happened multiple times. On the Aggressor, we would dock on Saturdays, our one day that we have on land to basically accomplish everything we need to do, like restocks, anything else that we needed for the entire week, we had to get in one day. So it was always about running around. So I would be like running down, the dock or whatever, and people are like, "Hey, what is that? Like, can I buy those? Where do you get those?"
So people were seeing you on the docks.
Everywhere. Yeah, and
okay.
In the stores, in the shops, if we needed something.
So
and I remember going into Jack's diving locker to do a sales pitch, to like show them the ones that I was wearing. And the girl behind the counter was actually wearing like one of the pairs that I had apparently sold to her. It was like one of our first customers. And I was like, well, you're going to make my sales pitch very easy. You're wearing my product.
So seriously, how did you not lose your working a Liveaboard and growing another business all at the same time?
At that point in my life, I had felt like I escaped this box that I had built for myself. I was so excited and passionate and inspired. I would stay up at night after spending all day videoing stuff, like looking at clips and being like, oh, like this thing and this thing. Like I was just so excited to be where I was that energy just seemed to come out of me.
That was kind of a springboard for you. Is that right?
100%. I mean, not only did I meet RJ, but when I met him, he was wearing all sorts of wacky stuff diving. So we instantly connected because we were the 2 very well-seen dive masters, and we were also the 2 most excited people in the water. So, people pay thousands of dollars for these trips. And if we saw dolphins or numerous whale sharks that year, we would be more excited than all of our paying guests.
In the middle of doing the Liveaboard, and you're launching Spacefish Army, and you stopped doing a Liveaboard. Why?
Basically because of COVID. I was living in the Cayman Islands. Basically, we had less than 24 hours to leave the country and not know when we were coming back. We actually left our dive gear there thinking, how long could this possibly last? We're going to be back. It was a full year later, we decided, okay, that's not going to work. We moved down to Florida because that was the only place where people were going to dive. We had been limping along with Spacefish. We took all the inventory in. We were living in RJ's parents' basement, and they were kind enough to clear out an entire room for us to store our inventory. And they were like so proud to say that they had a hand in the warehousing and fulfillment of our budding company.
Oh, it's true.
His family couldn't be more supportive. They're all entrepreneurs, so I put 100% of my focus on it for the first time, even though the world was shut down. So our wholesale business flopped. But I was like, how can we build for the next push? But we were able to find a factory that was small enough that they keep working during COVID. So we were one of the only suppliers getting our stuff in. So when the stores did start opening and everyone was having resupply issues, that's when a lot of them were like, yeah, sure, we'll try out your stuff because we can't get anybody else's right now. And then once they saw it really selling, they were like, okay, we make bigger orders. So we lucked out in a couple big ways. Maybe it was a mix of luck and just keeping at it, but we forced through.
Okay, so you're getting started. It's starting to go pretty good. What was your biggest mistake?
The biggest mistake was not understanding the cost of shipping. especially from overseas. We spent almost an entire year air freighting our stuff in, because at this point it's fragile, right? Like, you're getting into these stores and it's important to keep them supplied, but I didn't have the logistics worked out in the background where I need like a 60 to 90 day window to get my supplies. So I was wasting tons of money air freighting it in just so that I could supply the stores, but I was losing my entire profit margin by doing that. So looking back, I mean, it was pretty dumb.
What would you have done differently?
Taken the hit, let them know that we have product coming, but not to rush the delivery, because it's a difference of 30 days. So you're promising something a month after somebody wants it. I was so ready to please that we hurt ourselves.
What's something else as far as the psychology or the design or just you personally that you wish you knew in the beginning that you know now?
I thought, my degree and my 10 years experience in fashion and all of this would carry over into starting my own business, and I actually had no idea what I was getting myself into. But I feel like being an entrepreneur and starting your own company is so much harder than even if you have this great idea and you know it's going to do well. The effort and the learning that goes into it, I mean, you just can't fathom everything that you need to know.
What would you tell 5 years ago, Morgan?
Well, now I would say, stick with it, because it's going to turn back around.
This will work. Don't give up.
And not only that, I mean, giving up's just not in my nature. The fact that people come up to us and they're so excited, like they've heard about us, they're so excited to see our stuff in person.
Yeah.
I've gotten hugs from people I don't know that just love our products, and like, that's just a feeling that you can't really get anywhere else.
No one can see this right now, but we have a crowd and a line going on very close to the camera here.
It's not like I was unhappy with my liveaboard lifestyle, like we were kind of in a groove. And when that got turned 180 and we switched to this, it was like a huge decision, because you're taking on basically stuff that you've avoided having for the past 3 years. So it was a matter of like, do we do this or do we not? You couldn't pick
There is no try.
Paths. Right.
Do or do not.
So it was more like we go full steam into this and we see it through, and I don't think we're through, we're still...
Not according to the crowds you have around here. You have a lot of excitement now. I don't know, you might be through. I mean, I know famous people that still have imposters, and it's like, dude, at what point you say, hey, I made it, I'm here. You're like, yeah, you want to do more stuff, but do you have in your mind, at that point, once I cross that specific line, I've made it? Because if you don't have that, how are you ever going to know?
I feel like I always think of that question, and then I think we've passed that line, and I'm like, no, we're not there.
So you're moving the goalpost on yourself.
Yes.
Is that not self-destructive?
I also feel like that way in life, and I've learned that how I feel about the journey, RJ asks me all the time, he's like, are you ever going to be satisfied? And I think that's the right word. Not happy. I feel like I'm happy, but are you satisfied? No. Because there's always something more to do, there's something more to learn, there's some place else you want to go. The day that you end up being satisfied is the day that, like, what do you do?
Devil's advocate here. Where is it where you feel like you aren't constantly chasing that, though? I mean, you do have to enjoy some achievements, right? Where is it where you go, okay, today we made it.
Well,
tomorrow's a new challenge, but today we made it, and we're going to celebrate. We're going to be happy about it today. What was the most recent time that happened?
The most recent time was a few days ago when we got the go-ahead to go to Banga Lagoon in Fiji to design them a new collection.
Well, we all hate you now.
And so we've been working so hard this year, and we haven't really taken many trips or gone diving, and which is obviously the whole point of the company in the first place. So when we were about to book that trip, he's like, do you really think we can be away for 3 weeks? And I said, yes, we'll figure it out. But the whole reason that we started this company is to dive and to explore the world and do these things. And that's the inspiration for everything that you see. So if we are turning that down, we've lost sight of what we started for.
So you're going diving in Fiji to develop a new design.
Banga Lagoon Resort. It's spelled weird. It's B-E-Q-A, but in Fijian, that's Banga.
I asked you about one pieces and you told me two piece. Why?
There's so many reasons why, and I feel like the industry really needs to catch up to the fact that versatility and multifunctional, especially in the dive professional lifestyle, is so much more important than wearing a dive skin. Either a skin or a wetsuit. I avoid wetsuits whenever possible. But just the versatility alone and the ease to get in and out, like it doesn't have to be as difficult as the dive industry makes it. And you ask anybody's least favorite part of diving, and it's getting into a wetsuit.
Yes.
We're trying to change
Lugging tanks,
industries.
but that's a different category.
No, that's a good workout.
Okay.
But even putting on a dry skin underneath your wetsuit, no matter how cold it is or anything, it just makes me feel so much better. And then when you come out, you know, like you can throw on a pair of leggings for your next dive, but you can also go to lunch or do whatever you're gonna do. Like it's not, the one pieces are only made for diving. When else are you ever going to see somebody wear that other than diving? And then as soon as you're out of the water, you take it off, you hang it up, you never wanna see it again until your next dive. In these, especially with the pockets, you're gonna wear them everywhere. You can carry stuff in them anywhere you're gonna go. If let's say you're going to the gym later, you're going to the grocery store, like you can just do anything. And especially in the liveaboard lifestyle that we were doing, you were in and out of the water probably 5 times a day. It just made all the difference in the world.
And you said pockets were like a non-negotiable.
My first iteration of Spacefish did not have pockets. And the whole reasoning behind that was you don't need pockets diving. And that was my mistake, maybe my biggest mistake then. Now they all have pockets.
All right.
It's been the game changer for sure.
You guys have a fan base. We're literally watching. We've had trouble doing this interview because so many people want to come up and talk to you. What about the people that are at the bottom of that ladder just starting? Besides, don't rip off your shit. What advice would you have for them?
Diving is such an ego-driven industry, I feel like. Coming into it as a female, just when I think the industry was catching up to the fact that women can do this job, it was like my 12th dive until I even saw a female crew member.
It's crazy.
So I was trained and only dove with men, and that's what really worried me trying to become a dive master, because I was like, can women even do this job? And now, obviously, that is stupid to think. We're kind of taking over the industry.
Absolutely. No, it's true.
You know, I don't see competition when I see other people. Like I want everyone to do well, and as long as you're not doing exactly what we're doing, you know, I will help you. I will tell you any of the knowledge that I have to get you started. And really, it's inspiring to see somebody's sparkle in their eye, like wanting to do something and wanting to create something of their own. For me, I feel like our stuff sticks out enough that no one can really replicate it. And my design skills keep us moving forward. So even if somebody's going to rip us off, I'm already on to the next thing.
Cool.
So I feel like we can keep fresh enough that somebody, and we're big enough in the industry now, that if somebody's trying to do something like us, they're going to be like, this is Spacefish.
You're out here designing stuff constantly. I mean, look at this guy. I mean, you just did this for fun. Can't rip that off. And you're sitting on quite the design as well.
It's my baby.
Yeah, this thing's amazing, by the way. Something you wish, no matter how much you put it on the site, no matter how much you have it online, that you just can't seem to get through. It's like no matter how many times you put it, that is the one thing that isn't sticking, that just doesn't seem to be able to communicate out.
It's kind of blending that line between not losing your niche of divers.
Right.
And not only that, but them understanding that you can wear 2 pieces instead of the 1 piece.
Right.
But it's like all of that triangle. It's like, hey, these are 2 pieces. You can use them for diving, but you don't have to use them for diving. You can use them for multi-purposes, but without losing your original niche, because I feel like it's super important to cater to your niche audience.
Because you see it a lot. You say, oh, we do this, but for everyone. And it's kind of like, well,
you lose your edge.
Yeah, you lose your edge. Like the focus has value. In a perfect world, where do you see this? 5 years?
I would love to partner with somebody who's making full-on gear and bring something to the dive gear itself that doesn't exist.
It needs color.
It's not just the color though, it's design. It's so much of it in diving is function specific, but they haven't caught on to the fact that you can do fashiony things and still make it functional, which is kind of the idea behind our brand, but we keep everything super simple, right? And we haven't really launched any technical gear because I feel like we're not the technical people to do that. But if we partnered with the right people that already know those specs, we could bring a whole design to the industry that's really not there. I have ideas, can't tell you.
Okay, so top secret. Stay tuned for that one. Is there a stopping point for you?
I don't know.
Is it 6 feet down under, or are you just going to go till you drop?
I mean, I would love to be able to travel more and dive more and keep the inspiration flowing.
Wait, you just said, though, you're going to Fiji to inspire a new line.
Right.
So you kind of are.
I mean, I am, but I want to do more of that, or or maybe exclusive
All the
that.
time?
So if I could hand off the logistics of our company more to someone better hands, then I would be free to actually design and keep the brand fresh and going a lot easier.
Are we hiring? Are we looking for the right person?
For sure. Where are you?
Yes, that's the next step.
Come
Okay,
on board.
so that's where you want to be. That's the goal.
I want to focus on design and keep things flowing and to hand off the business side to somebody else for sure.
I know people that get off on the business side, and there's something for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. I know that there's more capable people out there.
I'm with you on that one, by the way. I'm kind of in the same boat. Well, Morgan, thank you so much. Thanks for coming and sitting on the hood of your car here at SharkCon. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure as always.
All right.
I hope you learned something from that interview with Morgan, the creator behind Spacefish Army, which is now the brand to be wearing, basically doing anything outside. But like I said in the beginning, stick around because you're going to want to hear from RJ, not only her life partner, but her business partner, how they make that work, how they balance business and personal life. It was too good to pass up, so that episode will be coming very soon as a follow-up to this one. So make sure you're subscribed, make sure that you're following, getting notifications. That one will be up very soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. And if you want to support my channel, go to sweetwaterscuba.com. We have all the good stuff like the shirts, the hats, the stickers, everything. Autographed kids books are on there and wholesale opportunities for retailers. Don't forget, we're on almost every major channel, put out daily content, new stuff all the time. I'm on live all the time, so hopefully I'll see you on either TikTok, Kenny_Dial, Instagram, Sweetwater_Scuba, Facebook, just search me, or just search me in your browser, Kenny Dial. One of those should come up. Finally, the YouTube channel has all the podcasts and all of the short form stuff. It actually kind of has everything in one spot. Either way, I hope to see you on one of these apps, on one of these pages. Whatever connects us to the underwater world, I hope to see you there. Let's show the rest of the world the rest of the world.